Bouncing with that
drop. KCP in the middle. Bounce, Larry. Throw that baby down. Oh, my goodness.
What hard? Are you kidding? With some anger.
Kyrie get out of that double team. With the hip fake. What a move by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Levine, he goes right.
Oh! Does anybody know how to post video?
Welcome back into the NBA Drop Step Podcast. Home team Brandon Leak. Our man, Brandon Harper, Houston, and Big John Radcliffe in for episode 8 as we wind down the regular season. Week 21 here is upon us, and teams trying to make the final playoff push to the postseason. We'll get to some of that, especially in the Western Conference. Trae Young, is he going to get the shot, or will he be cheated out of Rookie of the Year? We'll get to that. Milwaukee, is it just regular season hype, or do they have what it takes to go all the way throughout the run to the Eastern Conference Finals and beyond? And LeBron James, what does the man need? Can he get it himself? Gentlemen, how y'all doing for podcast episode number 8?
What's going on? Big John, what's up, big fella?
Hello. Thank you guys for letting me join in with you guys.
Yeah, Big John sitting in for Book. He couldn't be here with us, had some other business to take care of, so it's always good to have the big fella in here with us, though.
Always a pleasure to be here. Definitely very happy to be here.
Well, everybody's happier than they are in Lakerland. The Lakers are in trouble. The Lakers this week fell to 5.5 games behind the Spurs in the 8th and final playoff position in the Western Conference. And at this point, it doesn't even matter. If they make it, they're going to get a date with the Nuggets, or they're going to get a date with the Warriors, and it's going to be over before it gets started. It doesn't matter. It's an abject failure, and certainly something nobody saw coming, that the Lakers would not make the postseason with LeBron James and whoever they put in Laker uniform.
They are going to have a date with the couch. They're going to have a date with whatever beach their money can buy. They're going to have a date with any and everything other than the hardwood and a basketball.
You feeling some type of way about that, for aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
You take it kind of personal.
Look,
huh?
I watched them these last few games, and I said, it's done. You might as well stick a fork. They're done. Stick a fork in them.
Were you expecting more from them, though?
No, I was expecting
them.
I did.
3 weeks
Yes,
ago.
I did.
I thought they would probably be worse, 5th in the West. That's what I thought.
Were you expecting a better record, or were you expecting more exciting games?
It was more about the seeding. I didn't care what it was like. I just thought they were going to be 5th.
I didn't expect it to be 11 or 12.
That's what it was before LeBron went out for 18 games.
Yeah, but that was right before the Christmas. He got hurt on Christmas Day, so that's really the start of the season. Now that it's had time to breathe, they still can't.
He still just got back. This is my point. He's only been back a few games. How many games has he actually played since come back from his injury? Like 5?
No, I think
it's been more than that.
Has it really?
More than that.
Has it really?
Because he missed 18. He missed 18.
He just came back right before All-Star break.
Yeah, but it's been more than 5.
Okay, so let's say 10. Let's say he's played 10 games since being back. And then he has to look at the stretch that he really has to make in the Western Conference to get to the playoffs, where he knows it's not going to be anything but first seed out.
He's played in 46 games this season. 46 games.
And probably 32 of them, 35 of them were prior to the injury.
Yeah, but now this is when they need him. You can't go by. He was okay, so they didn't fall off the radar. They were still there at the 8th seed.
So I guess my point is then for what? Because you weren't going to do nothing in the playoffs anyway.
But it's about getting to it's about having the opportunity to get to the playoffs and be able to be one of those 8 teams. You're not even getting that opportunity now.
They're not going anywhere. And the sad part is, no matter what they do from now on, they're not going anywhere. I don't think they're going anywhere with this unit, even if Lonzo Ball comes back. It's not working out. These guys that they drafted, that they were selling everybody in LA on, selling all of us on, Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, and all these guys, Brandon Ingram, they're just going to be okay players for right now.
You guys were looking for lightning in a bottle with a team that didn't even know how to get into the bottle together. We saw that one cut of LeBron James talking about help each other up, help each other together, keeping in mind, this is the same problem. They didn't run into the same problem. They had a hard time gelling when they put the big three together in Miami. It took a season for it to gel. So if you were looking for more, if nothing more from this team, I was looking for more competitive games. I'm not even seeing competitive games. I'm seeing a team that is literally just borderline going through the motions. The Hawks were more competitive last season than this team is right now. This team looked like they done started shipping their cars back to wherever they're going to ship them to. LeBron is ready to go and film a movie and sit on a beach and jump off a rock and hang out with Melo and Chris Bosh. Well, nope, you won't get Chris Paul because he'll be in the playoffs. This was a guy that had already made up his mind, and this was a team that their coach didn't know how to do one thing: coach their players with LeBron, because that's the part that nobody understood, that when you have a guy like this. I remember stories about Michael Jordan. When Jordan, everybody talked about the intensity of MJ and the way that, Scottie learned to deal with it. But for some of all those centers that came through there, Luke Longley, Bill Cartwright, they didn't know how to deal with the intensity of Jordan. The same came about with Kobe. You got to make sure your coach, number one, knows how to coach your young players to say, guys, he's going to be intense. This whole sitting at the end of the bench, it's going to come with it. What y'all need to do, I don't care if it's Kuzma or Rajon Rondo or whoever need to be the leader for a few minutes, and then bring it back together. This looks like a team that the first chance they get, they're going to all try and jump ship themselves.
And it was crazy because this team at this point was even more competitive last year. They were only, if you look at the records from this point this year and this point last year, this team is probably, I think the record is only a game better. It's just about
even, I think, a game better, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this team, there was more, they played in more competitive games last year. There's no defense. There was a clip of Kyle Kuzma actually pushing LeBron to get him out there to the three-point line to defend the three.
Sad.
There's no communication whatsoever on this team. Now, I understand we've been hit with injuries. Kyle Kuzma's now out with an ankle injury. He's day-to-day. Lonzo Ball's still dealing with his. And you got a bunch of one-year contracts. You put a bunch of guys together. There's no shooting on this team.
They can't shoot. You can't turn chicken bleep into chicken salad. 30th in free throw percentage.
They're the worst team in the
29th in three-point percentage, when everybody in the NBA is trying to get up as many three-pointers as they can. And I saw a crazy stat. I got to go back and find it, but it had to do with the Houston Rockets last year, that they attempted more three-pointers than, I think, was it 5 teams in the 1980s did for a decade. They shot more three-pointers last year than 5 teams did in an entire decade. The Lakers are one of the few teams that can't shoot the three. 29th out of 30 teams, 30th in free throw shooting, and then they can't rebound. So you can't shoot free throws, and you can't rebound. You are getting what you have set up. And LeBron, I don't know if he's part of the blame or if he was sold a bill of goods, because Magic Johnson needs to start taking some of the responsibility for what's going on around in L.A.
Yep. Me and Joe Hammer actually talking about this in the hallway.
Shout out.
Today. Yeah, the Hall of Famer. He said, I think LeBron's getting about, I told him 60% of this right now in my eyes. Magic Johnson's probably going to get about 30 of the blame. Yeah.
I'd go about 77.
Really?
Yeah. You put all this together. He sold wherever he sold to LeBron. LeBron bought it. Now, LeBron wasn't playing in Greece last year.
I think I might have had it backwards. I think Magic actually with the 60, because you're the one who's making the decision to let LeBron kind of do what he does.
But LeBron signed off on this as well. You know what type of player Lance Stevenson is. You know what type of player that you're bringing in. It's not like these are just
you can't act like we weren't saying that same thing about them when he signed them. Like, yo, look, Landon might be a head case, but yo, I want that on my team. Rondo might be an issue at times, but yo, I want that on my team. We said all that.
But my thing is, you're talking about divvying up the blame. If LeBron knows what type of players are bringing in, that ratchets up the blame for him even more, because they run this by you.
The blame I have for LeBron James is he didn't go there for the basketball only. I don't know what was first, how he ranked it, what he could get out of playing in the LA market, what he was going to yield from his business endeavors. He did not go to LA because of the basketball only.
Man, I could have sworn I saw him in the ad for Game of Thrones, coming up with something. I don't know.
He's on TV. He's doing a TV show, and I'm not faulting him. He's still using his celebrity and notoriety, but he went to a team that was a bad team with a bunch of young guys that had a lot of growing to do, and now you can see now at the end of the season, 5.5 games out with a few weeks to go, he's frustrated because he finally has accepted, in my opinion, he cannot win with these guys.
And it's double frustration, because he thought, nobody wants to go to Cleveland, period, unless you're from there.
You probably don't
I'm
want to
going
go back.
to L.A. So I'm going to get people who's going to want to come to L.A. It's a beautiful market, beautiful city. And I'm going to sell them on the concept of, hey, look what I'm doing. I'm making albums with 2 Chainz. I'm making movies. I got a TV show coming out. You, too, can be the LeBron James type millionaire. But nobody wanted to come. And Magic said, stay confident. Stay with it. I got you covered. Don't worry. LeBron got hurt, and no one was there to back him up. And then I think it kind of was a little bit more insult to injury when Kyrie called. And it was like, man, I could have had my Robin with me.
He want that old
least.
thing back.
I could have at least had my partner in crime with me. And I ain't got that neither. I got Lonzo Ball. I got Rajon Rondo. Oh, boy. This is a long season. And then I think the stature and the mortality of it kicked in of, I'm not going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
I'm not going to be in the finals.
And it's bad. His body language has been bad.
Yep.
He's made some bad plays in the fourth quarter. It looks like, and who's to say what percentage he is coming back from the groin injury. I don't know if he's 100%. Nobody is at this time of year. You can't put it all on injury. I don't think he's 100% healthy, and he just looks a little bit tired, like his body is physically tired. Throw in the mental fatigue of playing with jokers that can't shoot. He'd probably be averaging 15 assists a game if these guys could knock down some of these open shots he's giving them.
For somebody who is so tired, he sure do got a whole lot of videos of him dancing around and stuff all over town. And he in the gym and at home in the mirror dancing for you. So is he really that tired? Is he really that thing of woe is me?
But that's always been LeBron.
I think
but that's my whole thing. I think at the end of the day, he ain't sweating none of this. He is chilling. He's cool with all of this because why? At the end of the day, he knew it wasn't going to end in a championship this year. Maybe the playoffs, he'll let that go for what he thinks is going to be greater good later on.
Well, this is the
which is
offseason.
just saving his body. So, at this point, he's in, I think he's in neutral. He's talking about he's in playoff mode right now. He look
mode.
He look like he in neutral at this point. Like,
and
just coasting.
off the court and going home.
Yeah, man, going on vacation, planning a vacation.
Yeah, he'll be
Sleep mode.
doing some analyst work on TNT or something for the 40 days, 40 games, and 40 nights. It's just bad.
Gone
and
fishing mode.
His body language, if nothing else, you would think, okay, we're not going to playoffs. Even if we did, we were going to get our brains beaten in. But help the guys. Some of those guys are going to be there. I don't think all of those guys are going to be there. They're going to move some people. But help the guys you can, because you don't know who's going to be a Laker moving forward. And it's been his body language that even in the losses, the crying and the complaining and the yelling when this team isn't getting back and when he hasn't been getting back, it just hasn't been a good look. The optics of what he is supposed to be and what he's been the last few weeks has been bad to watch, even if you aren't a Laker fan.
And there have been plenty of times we see him on the court. He's mailed it in. Like you said, not playing defense. He's sitting there playing safety right in the middle of the key, and it's really 5-on-4.
Right.
And, I'm just going to be where I'm at. And then when he's not doing his defensive assignment and they score, he's looking around trying to blame somebody else. LeBron, that's you.
If the ball is 2 arm lengths away from him, he's not making any effort to get closer than 1.
I think he's hurt. I think he came back when he could. He probably didn't come back when he needed
to.
to.
Accept that.
Yeah.
We'd be more willing to accept that because right now it's like we got this whole media circus. Everybody's like us right now. We probably wasted 15 minutes on the Lakers right now. It's getting a little bit
But look
much.
how hard it is to accept considering what he did just last season. He played every single game and post game into the finals. It's like telling the person that just ran a marathon that they can't run another one.
Yeah.
No.
It's just like watching.
I just don't expect you to run a marathon twice in a week span.
Even a better example, in talking with Joe Hamilton, and we were talking about Cam Newton, and Cam was throwing the football this season, and he's saying, I know I can make that pass, but I can't make it. Mentally, your mind is still going that I can still throw a 40-yard go route.
Right. Okay.
But my body is just not answering the way I want it to.
Yep.
Because keep in mind, how much LeBron paid to keep his body 100%?
$1.6 million.
Paid $1.6 million to keep his body healthy. And now his mind, mentally, I can still run the floor. I can still go get that chase down from behind block that I made famous. But my mind is saying that, but your body is saying, hey, fella, you 34. I don't do this no more.
And what is his legacy? What kind of shot does this take when he's still, I don't know, is this the end of his prime, whatever you want to call his career, where he is still the best player on his team. He's still one of the best players in the league. He's still a guy who is one of the best players in the history of the game, but he's going to miss the playoffs by a few games.
Yeah, this offseason is really going to be telling. There's rumors around it. This is it for Luke Walton. This is done, and then Tyronn Lue is going to come in, a LeBron guy.
Oh, boy.
Please.
Oh, boy. Part two.
I'm just saying, this offseason is going to be very interesting in L.A. for really both teams, but especially for the Lakers, because are they going to be able to land a big free agent? A lot of people say no one wants to come play with LeBron. This will be the summer to tell, and who is going to be the new head coach if Luke Walton is fired. So it's going to be a lot of headlines around the city of L.A., which it always is, but more than ever this.
Well, who would have thought this? Could it be said, why would you want to go to L.A.? Let's just say whoever. Kyrie, Clay, Kawhi.
I think Kyrie would.
Whoever goes to L.A., so what? You still going to be in the West?
Yeah.
You still going to have to deal with Denver, and you still going to have to deal with the Warriors, and you still going to have to deal with the Blazers. Who's to say? Who would have thought that so what? You and LeBron are in L.A., you still might be the 5th or the 6th seed.
Oh, and to go with that, for these guys that I want my own. Kevin Durant, I want my own legacy. Kyrie Irving, I want my... Great, you can't do it without someone else. You can't do it without the best three-point shooter the game has ever seen. You can't do it without one of the greatest basketball players the game has ever seen. You can't do it. Kevin Durant, you think the Golden State, you think the San Francisco market's hard? Wait till you get to L.A. and them cupcake signs is filled in the bleachers and the stands.
Or New York.
Kyrie, you think it's going to be easy getting over there? And now you got to eat crow. You already said, I'm not a leader. And now if things don't go well, now you done went from Boston to L.A. and things aren't going your way again. What you going to do, pout there and try to go find another team? At some point in time, someone needs to advise these cats, hey, we got to, you think, okay, Kyrie, you think you're going to work with Bogan? Alex Caruso? Yeah, let me see how that lineup's going to look. When LeBron needs to sit a few games, when Lance Stevens needs to sit a couple of games, and you sitting here trying to figure out, I'm about to shoot every time I cross half court.
Yep.
I know that there's guys, someone like AD, it's a different type of position, but when you're talking about players that play like Durant and Kyrie, you got to understand that you're playing with a different group of players and what it's going to do for your personal legacy.
Yep.
It still comes down to Magic Johnson for me because what is the future of the Lakers? The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to see LeBron James get older and you're going to see the West still be tough. So you're going to need a lot of firepower to make it through the regular season, make it through the playoffs, get to the finals, make it to 5, 6, 7 games, whatever it takes to win the whole shebang. Magic Johnson has a lot to figure out in a short amount of time because this year doesn't count. LeBron signed for 3 years and the option for the 4th. Really, the first year starts next year, and he'll be 35.
Yeah, and I also think, everybody knows how Laker Nation and the NBA embraces Magic, how they love Magic. They love that smile. They love his charisma. They love his business, mind. But let's not forget that he and Rob Pelinka are essentially rookies in this position. And you hired him to be the face, and he's smiling. It's LA. Mr. Showtime is back in the front office. Okay, that's all good and well when you see it visually, but it's time to now get down to business
strategy.
It's time to now see how you and Rob can now bounce back this summer and what you can put together while you still have really the best player on the planet, even though he's on the back end of his career. What moves are going to be made? All that glitz and glam, all the smile, and this is LA. Okay, that was cool prior to, because some people, they say LeBron, hey, I don't know how much Magic had to do with it. Some people say, he didn't have much. LeBron was coming anyway. But now it's time to get down to the dirty work. It's time for you to actually assemble something that resembles a playoff team and a contender.
Well, unless it's KD, I don't see the one guy that can catapult this mess into anything that looks like it could be a championship contender. And that was one of the things we talked about earlier today, Joe Hamilton and I, was, at least in Miami, Pat Riley had a plan. He had D. Wade. He had Chris Bosh. He got in LeBron James, but they also had Udonis Haslem that get the rebounds. They also had a Mike Miller. They also had a James Jones. They also had, the pieces that you needed to put together a championship organization, not just one superstar. I don't know what Magic Johnson's plan is. I don't know if you can put this all on LeBron, but they need to figure some stuff out quickly.
And as they put it together and as they assemble it, I'm almost willing to bet the problem that they're going to run into is Magic Johnson's going to want people there long term. No one's going to want to be there long term. That was the thing about what happened in Miami, was they understood what they put together. It was literally a window. They capitalized on it. The window closed.
Where would you but was it really a window? He said 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a pretty big window. Like he thought it was going to be.
And what was he there? 4 years?
Yes.
And 1 3?
Two.
So
two out of 4?
You walk out of 4. You sat there and you saw your best friend get old. He watched Dwayne Wade get old.
Right.
He watched Chris Bosh get old. So now the
question
older
is,
players,
who is gonna want to come and watch LeBron get old? Because that's really where we're at.
Older guys. What you're going to want is the older guys. Carmelo Anthony was in talks with them. Another older guy. Chris Paul will go there. Another older guy.
Well, LeBron is special because even that he's a year older, he's scoring more points this year than he did last year. So he's doing better, but the results aren't better because the team is worse.
But it's also about who wants to come there. No one. It's about getting sunned almost. Who wants to come there in a sense to, because there are the guys that you have there now, you can sun them because they have no experience. Like, listen to me, follow me. And even though LeBron is the best player on the planet, when you having a guy like AD come in or Kawhi come in, you can't talk to them dudes the same way you can talk to some of these dudes here. Why? Because these dudes are stars as well.
So that's my thing. So then who? Because Big John, you're saying the older players are going to want to come, but I don't see of any older players other than somebody who's on their last leg. Sorry, Carmelo. But somebody like that wanted to say
they're not even on the last one.
Okay, so outside of somebody like that, who older, veteran-wise, is going to want to come and get sunned? Because eventually you're still going to get sunned. Unless LeBron is going to make that magical switch to where he finally does say, I don't have to be the guy, I'll be the guy to the guy. Because that's what he had. That's essentially, if you do it perfectly in Cleveland, you have LeBron in his reign, and you have Kyrie, and then they make the transition to where it's Kyrie's team, and LeBron is helping him facilitate to make it happen. That broke up. Who's going to want to come and do that now?
At some point in time, LeBron is going to have to do like what Jordan did in Washington. Jordan was the one that made that team where he said he still played hard, but what's his name? Rip Hamilton. He made Rip Hamilton's career, and he was okay with taking a step back and letting Rip do your thing. I know I can't play all the minutes anymore. LeBron ain't there yet. And it's going to have to be, I want my peers, I want my equals, and I want someone young that I deem fit as my equal.
They're big enough names. I don't know how much money they're going to have to dole out and who's going to take what, but they're big enough names to get some star power in LA. Is it enough to win the whole thing? First of all, wherever Kevin Durant goes, that's going to be the team that's going to be in contention automatically if it's not the Golden State Warriors. But, Paul Millsap will be out there. Al Horford will be out there. Marc Gasol will be out there. Kawhi Leonard will be out there. Jimmy Butler will be out there. There are going to be some names out there that can come and help LeBron James. Is it going to be enough to get title serious?
KD and Kawhi are the two names that the Lakers it'd be either one or the other that you would want in LA, that you would feel comfortable. Okay, this is a guy that could hand the reins over to, and then that can lead us into our future. Everyone else, Jimmy Butler, do you feel you don't feel comfortable with LeBron passing the reins over to Jimmy Butler? You don't feel comfortable with Jimmy Butler leading your franchise. He's not a type A player. He's a good player. He's somewhat of a star, but he's not a leading franchise to me type of player.
But on top of all of that, for all the names that you throw out there, whoever you send out there, it happens next year. then that means you're hoping everything gels. Oh, and the West has to fall apart next year.
It won't happen.
So that means you might not see LeBron looking for a championship till you might not see, okay, let's just say next year you actually do hit the playoffs. That's 35. You might not see that championship till 36, 37. How are we going Dirk Nowitzki and going to 41? Are we going Vince Carter and going to, what is Vince, 42?
I guess it depends on his health.
Here's where the Lakers are. Why would you want to go to L.A. and not go to Milwaukee? That's where they are. That's where the Los Angeles Lakers are right now.
The biggest thing that L.A. has to sell is L.A. That's it.
Yep.
I don't want to go and be in the cold in Milwaukee.
Yep.
I'm going to a bigger market. And this is the argument that I still have with people. Then if that's the case, why wouldn't I go to New York? I can go to a bigger branding. I can go to a bigger market. And if I make the playoffs in New York, I don't need the championship because New York doesn't see one. Why wouldn't I go to Brooklyn?
And if it's weather-wise, why not go to Miami down with Pat Riley?
Man, why don't we just come down here to Atlanta? Like,
that's going to come. Hopefully. We'll get to that as we'll see if the Hawks can continue good stuff they have. They had a pretty good run the last couple of weeks, really since the All-Star break. Hawks 22-43 when we do podcast number 8 here on the Drop Step Podcast. And they've been moving the ball. They've been in games closely. And Trae Young won his second Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month award. So him going off and having a nutty his first week after the All-Star break, averaging almost 35 points and 10 assists a game, really gave the Hawks a shot in the arm, and they are starting to look like a young team that isn't trying to fall off at the end of the season, but trying to put together some momentum to be pretty good for next year when they start.
Look, Trae Young, if you're not behind that, and so much so that people are behind Trae Young enough, if you saw the game where the Dallas Mavericks were playing in Brooklyn, Luka Doncic went to the line, and the fans in Brooklyn, Trae Young's better. Trae Young's better. The star's there. And the young man, the way he's playing and the way he is starting to understand the game a little bit more. And it's fun to watch those little things in terms of those fundamental things that it's easy to forget about. But they're so much fun. Just him passing. Mm-hmm. Almost, I hear a lot of names called, but it was always fun for me. I know I sound old, to watch Magic play, and the way he'd come down and he puts just enough touch on it to get it through that little crease like a quarterback, and there's your big man waiting to go up and put in, and you have to account for the fact of what he does once he slashes towards the basket.
It's a gift.
It's a damn good gift.
It's a gift, and it amazes me each and every time watching him, whether I'm at the game or whether I'm watching him on TV. The better shot, his better shot selection. You know, one of the things that we talked about when he was drafted and we watched him at Oklahoma, you know, he would pull up from anywhere. He'd pull up from the parking lot if you let him. And people would always say, what's his shot selection going to be like in the NBA? And we're seeing him take better shots, and we're seeing him take good shots, and we're seeing him hit those shots as well. He is absolutely unstoppable right now.
But it's still the same shots though too. Like they're still all over the place. Like they're from the parking lot, but it's just like he's doing them in a rhythm that it's like, okay, I think we're letting him go. Whereas seeing him before, because he would miss some, it's like, oh man, what's going on? My thing is, like y'all said earlier with the Hawks, or I'm sorry, you said it earlier. The Lakers have not been even as competitive as the Hawks last season or even this season. Way more entertaining to watch. Like, I actually like the star power that I see coming from our young players. Like, they're really stepping up, and each game has been competitive. 4 overtime game, another game that almost went to overtime. Like, they're doing it all. So, like, I'm really impressed with them. I want to see what's going to happen later on.
You have to give Travis Schlenk, GM for the Hawks, a lot of credit because he's melding in the right pieces with what his coach wants to run. So everything is lining up. That's why it's important for the GM and the coach to be on the same page. You don't have a GM who's been around and a new coach comes in. These guys pretty much came in together and they can be on the same page. And Trae Young, I think he's figured it out. The only thing he needs to watch now, from my perspective, are his turnovers.
Yeah.
If he cuts his turnovers down, the efficiency of the Hawks, his opportunities, his free throws, everything else will go up if he just watches the turnovers. And really, if you look at at the horrific start he had to his three-point shooting. I mean, right before Christmas, the man was shooting 23% from behind the three-point arc, and now he's gotten it up to a respectable number. If he just takes care of the basketball, I think everything else will take care of itself.
I think once he realizes also a little bit more, and maybe it's a confidence thing, maybe he hasn't completely gotten the 100% confidence in his team, is once he gets to that confidence point, that point of he knows immediately when I dish it off, it's taken care of. I don't have to do everything on the floor. I can just pass. I don't have to make those shots. I just literally have to help create from our guys. And the minute he gets to that comfort point, that's when you'll start to see those things happen. Obviously, we know Kevin Huerter, he hasn't exactly been the shooter. He's coming a much better shooter. But once he can become that crisp shooter that you feel like, you know what? All I got to do is get it to him on the wing or get it to him at his spot. I don't have to worry about it. Amari Spellman, we've seen him pull up. Once he gets his weight under control, he looks less like a tailback and more like a forward.
4 more salads, just a few more salads, that's all.
He got to go low carb for a little bit too.
Vinaigrette.
Maybe no sugar. And once he starts to look like that, cool. Then that means I can slash the basket. And then you get I love John Collins, but I want one more bona fide big man down low to go with him. If we're going to go that small and Trae Young, I'm going to need a little extra beef at the 5 that when he goes up, cool. He knows that he's going up hard. So it's just that little confidence that he probably needs from his team of, I need this little extra confidence, that little extra feeling I think that'll set everything perfectly for him.
Yeah, because when he came back after the All-Star break, we really saw that next level. You know, you speaking of confidence, we really saw him take that next step on the confidence level where it was like, oh, he going off. Oh, that man playing like he just don't care. Like, he's playing like he's been in the league 5-6 years.
Yeah, I think he came back with an energy boost from that All-Star break, and ever since, it's been lights out. Even to the fact, like, when people are talking junk, he's not backing down.
Dude.
Like, I think he feels like, okay, I've reached a certain level to where you're going to have to respect me now. So even, like, with the ejections the other night, people were talking about, the play that happened earlier in the game, but really, they were being testy the game before, the quadruple overtime game back here in Atlanta.
Yep.
So with that going on already, then coming to the next game, and he's still, I'm here doing my thing. I'm going to tray you out, ice out.
I think that the ejection game kind of was part of his arrival moment to the NBA where everybody reacted. Current players, Reggie Miller, with the whole what's happened to my beloved NBA game. I would have been broken out of the league in 2 years if you're throwing guys out for that. Trae Young just staring at Chris Dunn. And I don't know how you stare at a man whose eyes aren't on you. He's looking at the back of the man's jersey in a dead ball situation, and he gets thrown out of the game by official Kevin Cutler. I don't understand why the quick trigger was, but that moment, when Trae Young was in the middle of a historic run trying to go 4 games in a row as a rookie scoring 30 points or more, he gets tossed in the third quarter when he only has 18. I think that was part of his arrival moment when everybody in the NBA said, hey, this guy should be treated better than this.
So the ejection is a blessing?
You have to take the positive.
It comes with it, man.
Yeah.
It comes with part of the game. I mean, look, when I saw that whole ejection portion of it, and Reggie Miller's right. I'm a Knicks fan. I grew up seeing Reggie Miller run down the court doing the throat slashing and everything else that he did up against the Knicks. It was a soft move, but it was also one of those things that I think Trae Young needed. Because let's just face it, how many Hawks highlights have we seen on SportsCenter?
Wow,
but that one did make it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Sometimes there's PR people, public relations people that'll say there's no such thing as bad press.
Yep.
That wasn't bad press. That was great press to say, wait a minute. And then who's this Trae Young kid? Let me go, wait a minute, look at these numbers. Okay, now he's gotten better. And then, like I said, to hear the crowd up in Brooklyn, and I get it because their team was playing up against the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic. I get that they were trolling them, but the fact that they know the name, because keep in mind, not a whole lot of casual basketball fans knew who Jeff Teague was.
And they weren't, when you look at it on you look at them on First Take, they're talking about them. And, it's just one thing. It's starting, you see the new leaf starting to turn over where he's actually bringing more media coverage, and the national media has now gotten wind of what's going on in Atlanta. I just think it's a beautiful thing.
Nobody came here to see DeMar Carroll.
Nope.
But people love that style of play, that team ball, and he's not a me guy. So that's one of the things, Trae Young being very unselfish. We're getting out to the end of the rookie season, so you start to look at some of the guys you're going to compare him to. And when you start looking at rookie seasons, one of the guys I'm starting to see he's getting close to is Isaiah Thomas. Look at what he's doing. Isaiah Thomas, I'm talking about Zeke.
Oh, boy.
The original Isaiah Thomas with the Detroit Pistons. It's getting close. Isaiah Thomas, 17 points, 7.8 assists as a rookie. Trae Young, 18 points, 7.8 assists as a rookie. You look at the three-point situation, a little bit different because the ball just didn't fly behind the arc like it did. But Isaiah Thomas, 28% three-point shooter. Trae Young, 33% three-point shooter. And you look at field goals a game, both of them at 14. They are similar when you talk about what rookies you're looking at and when you want to compare Trae Young to. There are a couple of more. When you start looking at Chris Paul and Steph Curry, he's going to be in some very favorable company.
I like it. What were you going to say? Okay, no, yeah, I like it for real. I thought that with Trae Young doing as well as he was now it's going to bring that conversation to Luka, like, who is it really going to be? I know it should be Trae because, like you said, he's on the verge of breaking a lot of different records. What is Luka's claim right now besides... No, what does he have over Trae? Like, I honestly need to know.
We need to get into this.
I think he's better in every statistical category.
We need to get into this.
Yeah.
We need to get into this. Who is the rookie of the year? Who is it?
Trae.
I think he's going to have an opportunity to make it close. I think right now, Luka Doncic still going to get the votes. If you ask voters and writers today, they're still going to vote Luka Doncic. But Trae still has some time. Are they going to give it to him? The opportunity to win it? Are they going to cheat him like he was cheated in Chicago and not get the opportunity because people have already made up their mind?
I think people have already made up their mind. And honestly... And home team, you're not going to like this statement, but I'm going to throw it at you and the Atlanta fans because there wasn't an immediate embrace of your future star point guard. Because immediately when the media came out, oh, no, we could have had. Oh, no, we might have had. And there wasn't an immediate embrace of it. And look, I'm a Knicks fan. I say it. I was the same way with Kristaps Porzingis, where it was, who? And Luka Doncic, there was that immediate embrace, and then the superstar came out immediately with that, and the stars and the points came out with it, the scoring, the swagger, the attitude, everything about him immediately came out, where in our own market, in our own backyard, it was just kind of, okay, well, let's see how the kid does. Oh, boy, he's not shooting that great. And keeping in mind, Rookie of the Year, if there was a most improved, then Trae might be there. Trae had a very rough start, like we spoke of earlier, where he was just shooting from all over the place.
But you're not supposed to be perfect. It's a season. The early part of the season, Luka came out to a better start. Trae was taking crazy shots and missing some crazy shots. Now, as we get closer to the end of the season, you look at some of this stuff. Luka Doncic, 20 points a game. Trae Young, 18 points a game. Luka Doncic, however, takes one more shot a game than Trae Young. There's your one bucket difference. Luka Doncic is taller than Trae Young, so he's going to have better rebounding numbers, and that's where he's winning 7 rebounds to 3 for Trae. But Trae Young's a point guard. He's going to have more assists, almost 8 to 5. So I think they're a little bit closer than it should be, and I just think Luka is just so far gone in the minds of the writers that Trae's going to have to do some crazy stuff. He's going to probably have to average close to 25 points a game the rest of the way to even think about surpassing Luka Doncic.
And the thing about it is, it's gonna be close, no doubt. Even though I say it's Luka, it's not like it's just far gone. It's close. It's very close. This is the thing, when they talked about Luka at the beginning of the year before he was drafted, they said, well, you know how they feel about the overseas guys. Well, the guys he play up against are not like the guys in the NBA. But then when Luka started going off and started hitting game-winning shots and crossing people over, well, he did play against pros overseas. I don't understand people. You're either going to take one side of the argument or you're not. You can't use the thing that against him and then try to use it for him. and flip it around. You can't. You either got to pick one or the other side of the argument.
Well, I think that's the same thing that we did for Trae, though, too. Like, we flipped it because, at one point we were saying, oh, these are his drawbacks. But now it's like we're not looking at that at all. We're just looking at, okay, well, yeah, he should be doing assists because the only reason why he wasn't was because at Oklahoma he wasn't supposed to. He had to be the scorer.
I don't know if that's the same though, because you got a whole. You're playing at even when he was at Oklahoma, he's playing up against other. He's playing up against some of the best players on the college level. When you're at Luka, you're talking about a guy coming from overseas who's coming over with the stigma of, is he tough enough? Is he playing up against good enough talent? Even though those guys are pros, they don't match up with the pros here. So he still has that stigma on him coming from overseas. And that's the question that they had about Porzingis when he was drafted. Would he be able to stand up in this league?
Well, we had the question also was, could he handle being in the paint? Because Porzingis was stilts. He really looked like a stick figure. He looked like what my son draws. He had a head that just stick figures right there. I was like, oh boy, this ain't gonna hold up. But keep in mind, and like you said, home team, it's for the whole year. I hope it doesn't happen because I feel like it's the soft way to go. We saw Jason Kidd and Grant Hill do it.
Yeah.
They had co-rookie of the years. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's the soft way to go. One of them, and those two being good, those two becoming great, those two things can synonymously live together in this world.
Yeah, but somebody there still should be a declared winner. I don't think they should do a co-win.
Oh, no, I agree. There shouldn't be. But if you're looking at it from the point of Trae Young started off slow and picked up, and Luka started off hot and slowed down. And keeping in mind he did that with a slight team change as well. Remember, Knicks gave away anything that was worth anything to Dallas. They gave anything that was worth a damn to Dallas, and everything that Dallas had, they sent up to New York. He got a new team, and that's not to say that should hurt anything. That shouldn't hamper or hinder your gameplay at all. But now, once again, we're back to that trust factor. We're back to a player, and when you watch Luka Doncic, he still has that swagger. He still has that panache that, you know what, I could still do this. It's just one of those things of how do the writers look at it. And I still think at the end of the day, the writers are going to look at, we fell in love with Luka early. Everyone doubted it. Look where he came out with, and that might be the holdup.
And the crazy thing about Luka, my bad, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's funny. I don't forget who asked him, but he was like, man, it's easier to score in this league than it was overseas. And I'm like,
right.
This boy owns something.
We're going to table that one because I actually do want to get on to talk about European ball, and we're going to break it down. Anyhow, but what I am going to say is sorry to Trae Young on behalf of all of us from Atlanta, including myself, because, I was one of those people who was like, I'd rather have Luka in the beginning. So if that's the reason you don't get the Rookie of the Year is because we doubted in the beginning, sorry.
Now, I'm not going to be in that number.
We owe you one.
I told I was taking a 20-second timeout like they used to. I was going to wait until after Christmas because that three-point shooting percentage was a little troublesome. But you could kind of see he was figuring out he was just taking and not making the best of shots. Now, that was a few months ago. Now, with less than 20 games to go, I think he's demonstrated he can ball out, and I just want the man to have the shot to take home the Rookie of the Year.
But if he doesn't take home the Rookie of the Year, you as an Atlanta fan, and I'm talking to you, home team, first, where do you stand? What's your feelings about that? Like, it seems like, and I brought this up on one of the shows I work on, where the desire for the Rookie of the Year, does that solidify the step in the right direction for this franchise, that we got a Rookie of the Year and we're moving towards more, or does it hinder that feeling that you would have?
If he doesn't win it, I'm going to take the negative into the positive. I hope if it's decided towards the end he's not going to win it, then don't give it to him. And he has another chip on his shoulder. And he'll be upset about that. And he'll make everybody pay for that next year when he's a year stronger in the weight room. And he'll be better for it. And every year, I like the fact that he's not running away from it, that he doesn't mind being compared to Luka Doncic, even though they're better players. But the league needs rivalries. And he's okay with, if this is going to be a magic bird kind of thing.
I was just about to go there.
So be it.
I was just about to go there, and I think they even asked Trae about that in the sense where, if this is another Magic and Bird situation, that's great. It'd be great for the league because we'll always be connected at the hip, and it'll be great for us to have that small rivalry within the rivalries that are already going on in the league. So, look, all I got to say is for the next 10, 15 or however long these guys play, both of these franchises are going to be happy with what they have based off what we're seeing this year.
Am I wrong, though? Living in Atlanta, I'd much rather this rivalry be in the NBA Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd much rather this rivalry be
It's going to take some time.
battled in the NBA Finals. I'd much rather be talking about this, that, you know what, we didn't win the finals last year, but I want another parade in this town.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
Look, and I think this city will definitely get there. It's going to take some time. But all good things, all great things take a little time. They just always do. So I think there's something for us to look forward to here in Atlanta.
Something that went on in Milwaukee. Coach Budenholzer shows up, and he has Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year. Antetokounmpo doing a really good job of being steady.
MVP?
Yeah, MVP.
What did I say?
Rookie of the Year.
Okay, I've been working 3 shows.
He far from a rookie.
Yeah, wrong day. MVP. He should be the MVP. There should be no doubt about that. But the way that Coach Bud is running things, and they're moving that basketball and they're working the 3, they're getting some really good looks in. I think they're going to be a tough out. I expect them not to fall apart, and I expect them to be the real deal. Some people are just saying, look, it's regular season. You're going to have teams that jump up from time to time. I think Milwaukee is for real, and I can see them making it all the way to the NBA Finals the way they played all year long.
Yeah. Milwaukee, I want to say it's a little bit of fool's gold. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Like, I love Middleton, and I like what the Greek Freak does. But honestly, what else am I really going to go for in the 7-game series against the Warriors?
Well, they can shoot the 3.
They can shoot
They can shoot that.
But you already lost that battle because that's the Warriors shooting 3s over there too. And I don't see anybody just top. If you're going to go for 3 for 3 with the Warriors, you're not going to win that battle. So what else you got for me?
Even if they were to get, I think Milwaukee, I wouldn't go as far as saying fool's gold. I think it's going to be tough for them to get out of the East, with the likes of a healthy Sixers team and a Boston team who blew the heck out of the Warriors the other night by 33. But I do think if they were to match up with the Warriors in the finals, I don't think it'll be as tough as a lot of people would think for the Warriors. I think the Warriors would take care of them. I think it may even be a 5-game
gentleman's sweep.
I don't know.
Say it. Gentleman's sweep.
I don't know. They're making more 3-pointers a game than the Golden State Warriors.
I get it, but this team also hasn't been there.
The Warriors have unlocked the fact that they don't need to do it at that clip.
Now, there is some championship fatigue.
Yeah.
They know what to do at all times right now. So I think really it is just coasting till the finals for them and who's going to be there. If it is Milwaukee better trash through the rest of the East for me to really think respectfully they're going to give up. They're going to actually give more than one game.
The unfortunate thing about the East, it depends on what team you get. The Boston Celtics. It depends on what Celtics team you. There's been times
everybody's fractured in the East still. Everybody.
That's what I mean.
Still, yeah.
The Celtics at some point in time, they look like an AAU team that was just trying to figure out how to make it all work. The Sixers, there have been games where they were just magical, and then there have been games where it's just kind of like, can you guys not get out of each other's way and just play a game of basketball? You have all of this talent. You look at Toronto.
Last night. So yesterday, right?
Exactly. So it's those scenarios. Heck, keep in mind, even in the East, the Brooklyn Nets have quietly done something, and I'm still trying to figure out how.
Without a superstar.
With nothing there. So that's where I'm just sitting there looking at the East thinking, yeah, Milwaukee's just as hit or miss as any other team that's out there. It's just that portion of, yeah, you still got to deal with the West when it's all said and done. So look for an Eastern Conference championship. The only thing you can hope for at this point in time, some things that have been a given in the West. You're going to worry about, I was going to say Trae Young, Steph Curry's health.
Well, 5 years, some years down the line, they will have to worry about Trae Young.
You got to worry about Steph Curry's health. Steph Curry has had moments where, oh boy, that knee has flared up, that ankle has flared up. We've seen Klay Thompson. This is the first time we've really not seen Klay Thompson out there for a while. Draymond Green's going to get ejected for something stupid. We just know it's going to be a given.
And Boogie to that. He may exactly too.
So you're going to see that, you're going to miss 2 of these guys, but we could be looking at the NBA Finals. They each get one more tech and now they're out of game. Those are the scenarios that you're looking for, that you're hoping for if you're Milwaukee.
But usually when you're doing these type of, predictions or just trying to see into the future, you're trying to go into it with the mindset that everything is all a go for these teams. And I'm sorry. Milwaukee ain't there. They're good enough to get through the Eastern Conference Finals, period. That's it. And even that could be a shaky road depending on what version of the Sixers, the Celtics, or Toronto you get.
That's one. And Toronto, maybe, and I understand with Kawhi, they've been balling, but if you want to talk about a team that has had the fool's gold history, it's really Toronto. Because even when LeBron was in the East, we're thinking, okay, could this be the year that they could dethrone LeBron?
Last year was a year.
Yes, and they still couldn't do it.
The Rockets too.
Yeah.
The Rockets have had some really good opportunities. Still have one. I thought their chance was last year, and I thought they blew that.
So, I mean,
they looked pretty good last night, but did you see Chris Paul with that thumb?
There you go. That's why you can't take anything for granted.
And that's the same one he fractured before, right?
You can't take anything for granted. That's why when you have the team that they had last year, and they're going to miss Trevor Ariza this postseason. I'm going to tell you that right now. You know, you can't hold anything, take anything for granted. And now knick-knack stuff, that thumb ends up being a problem. If he has to sit, take some of his chemistry away, it's going to bother him in the postseason. Those are the things you have to deal with when you're talking about teams that are counting on some veterans and teams that you could argue might be a little bit snake-bitten too.
The only thing that's going to defeat the Warriors is the injury bug, and a severe injury bug that knocks out Steph or knocks out Clay for a long period of time. I don't see any team in the NBA, East or West, in a best of 7 series.
I think it specifically has to be an injury. It's not going to be chemistry or anything like that. I think that they're all very mature enough to get through any of the rest of that stuff, even shooting woes or whatever. I think it's literally going to have to be an injury. Other than that, I don't see it.
It's just not. It's another year
and I like the Thunder, and that's who I originally picked. Was the Thunder to actually probably go in there and take it to them.
They don't have enough.
That's what scares me. At the end of the day, it seems like they still might not have enough. As good as they're doing, as great as Paul George has been doing, even get talks for MVP, and even Russell, not taking the back seat, but still trying to do his thing. Field goal percentage down, but he's still getting the assist out and getting the production out there for other guys. It's still like
they don't have enough.
Just not enough. So it's like,
because for their 2 stars, I'll see 4 other guys that the Warriors have. So it's more of a cancel out. It's not happening. Just expect the trophy to be in the Bay again this season.
As long as there's no injuries, because they played a lot of basketball over the past 2 years, over the past 2 seasons. They've gone a lot longer, and that was what we talked about earlier with LeBron James. He played a lot of basketball and a lot of miles got put on that car last year.
And the mental fatigue, too, that comes along with that. If you get down 1-0 or you're down 2 games in a series, the mental toughness and the mental muscle you need to overcome some situations. So, plenty to get to and plenty of basketball left for it to play out. All right, that'll do it for Week 8, the number 8 podcast for the NBA Drop Step. Next time, we'll get into maybe some of these sleeper teams that might not have household cachet, but they might have
New York Knicks, baby.
We'll get into them.
Lord.
Some these NBA teams that might have a chance to get into the playoffs. We'll get into them. Which team needs Zion Williamson the most?
The Lakers.
The Knicks. The Bulls.
The Lakers.
I'd rather see the Knicks. I'll go with the Knicks.
The Cavaliers. There are a lot of teams that could use that guy. We'll see. Number 1 is where it looks like he's going. And also, we'll get into the NBA rule change, lowering the age for young men to come into the NBA. Is that a good thing, a bad thing, or is it indifferent? So, enough to get to next time. It has been a pleasure. Big John, welcome in. Thank you for stopping by. And for Book the Hook, who couldn't make it, B-Dog, Brandon Harper, and Houston. We'll see you guys next time on the NBA Drop Step Podcast.
Peace.